from wherever you may be watching us. My name is Makrina Buka, a mental health professional, a volunteer counselor at Parklands Baptist Church. Today I'm going to talk about positive discipline. And the reason why I've chosen to speak about this topic is because we find ourselves in this season that is COVID, having to interact with the children for longer periods than has been the norm. And as a consequence, there are issues of misbehavior that we are finding the children manifesting. And we would want to really present ourselves as responsible parents and to guide them so that they may learn the right skills and hence avoid a repeat of the things that show up as indiscipline and inappropriate behavior. Now, I'd like to say that the behavior that children manifest is a form of communication to us as parents. And for that reason, it's important that we are not just keen on eliminating the behavior, but also seek to understand why is that behavior being adopted by the child? What need is that behavior meeting for the child? Because with such understanding, it becomes easier to direct them in ways that are sustainable. Now, having said that, I do know that we parent in very different ways. There are those who believe in corporal punishment, and it then means that if a child has done something that they're not happy with, then they will inflict some form of pain on the child with a view of stopping them on the behavior and hopefully preventing them from repeating it. So this could be a slap, it could be a pinch, it could be being hit with the open hand or being hit with something. This falls in the category that we call negative strategies for discipline. There are those who, when a child does something that they are not happy with, will show up in anger. And in that moment, they will likely shout at the child. They may call them names. The idea is to scare them from the action. Not very good, because it does not teach them any skills on how to. It does scare them, yes, but it does not teach any skill. And the downside of this kind of discipline is that one of the interpretations that the child is likely to get is in the moment when there's disagreement. If you are in a position of power and authority, then you can use that position of power and authority to scare the person who is at a lower level to stop doing the thing that you're not happy with. And chances that that child will also show up similarly when they have disagreements with their peers is very likely. So they are the children who will be hurling insults at other children out there, or even within the home setup when they disagree. They'll be the ones that will be hitting other children when they disagree and pushing and doing all those kind of physical things. So there's a downside to it. The other thing that is likely to happen when negative discipline approaches are used is that the risk of the child experiencing shame is elevated. The risk of the child experiencing guilt at levels that are not normative is elevated. The risk of them developing fear and anxiety around the parent is likely to be very high. The risk of them going down the path of depression is there. And the risk of them showing up aggressively when interacting with their peers is also there, because that has been modeled to them in the parenting style that they have interacted with. Now, what is the alternative that I'd like us to consider? The alternative I'd like us to consider is what we call positive parenting. Yeah. And it is positive parenting because it seeks, one, to eliminate the behavior that is not desirable. It seeks to understand why that behavior is being used by the child. And it seeks to teach the child skills on how to show up differently to attend to the need that the undesirable behavior is meeting in the moment. Yeah? So, one of the things that as a parent you could do to encourage the desired behavior is to be affirmative. When the child does something correct, you want to be vigilant. You want to be the one looking out for what is the child doing correctly. You do not want to be the parent who only shows up when the child is not doing the right thing or is doing the thing that you didn't like them to do. You want to find them doing the right thing. So if part of the right things, for example, is when you wake up, make your bed, and then go and take a bath, then come and take breakfast. When the child does those things, notice it. Say, so and so, I see you have made your bed and you have even taken a shower prior to coming to take breakfast. I like that. Thank you very much. Now, if they are showing up at the breakfast table in a way that you don't find proper, you see, you will have given them some positive points prior to now highlighting the issue around the breakfast table. So they therefore get the message that they're not just good for nothing. They actually are capable of doing good things that the parent will notice, even as a parent notices the things that have not been done properly and guides them. Then you could also give them privileges, extended privileges for doing that which you consider to be appropriate. So it could be that they get to choose a game to play, they get to have a longer period to play the game. It could be that they get to have their favorite food cooked for supper that day or the day after, So they get privileges for engaging in the desired behavior. Yeah? And you could also gift them. So you could buy them a gift, buy a card, thank you. You could buy them a sporting item, whatever it is that you feel is appropriate for the occasion. A set of reasons why children would not behave properly can be summarized in an acronym that spells the word NUTS. So N for novelty. So when they're presented with new situations, then they really don't know how they ought to behave. When they're presented with unpredictability, so the COVID situation has presented us with a few of unpredictable instances. So they don't know if curfew is going to be changed or not, things like that. Schools are going to be opened or not. There was a point in time it wasn't quite clear, So those sort of things would make a child to behave in ways that are really not comfortable for the parent. If they feel threatened, nuts. So if they feel threatened, then they're likely to behave in ways that are not considered to be proper. And then if they're in a situation where they feel they have a loss of their sense of control, that also could make them behave in ways that are not proper. So what you want to do as a parent, knowing that these are situations that could elicit inappropriate behavior, you want to be, You want to be proactive. You want to be proactive in engaging with the child. If you're going to come up with a new situation, at the point when you know it, alert them. Let them know, let them ask questions, answer them as best you can. Then you reduce the instances of the behavior that is inappropriate. Then, depending on the age of the child, if they're very young and they are doing things that you don't like, so for example, a 2-year-old may be jumping on the chair and you don't like that. Many of us would say, stop jumping on the chair, stop jumping on the chair. the likelihood that the child is hearing just jump is very high. So they will continue to jump. So you want to tell them what you want them to do. What you want them to do is to jump on the floor, sit on the chair. So be clear on the instruction and then redirect them. A 2-year-old, you can actually lift them off the chair and take them to some other place and give them a different activity, even as you're telling them that, we don't do this. If you want to jump, it's okay, let's jump here. And you will have diffused that particular moment. Now, the other thing is that you need to be alert for the good things that they do. I have mentioned this before. I am repeating it for emphasis. We need to look out for the good things, the right things that the children do, and acknowledge them so that they get the appreciation that they actually have the capability of doing right things. And you as a parent, as you're directing them when they make mistakes, you're doing it from a balanced point. Yeah? And they can expect positive things from you even as they get redirections from you. There is also the opportunity of ignoring the undesired behavior, because sometimes the behavior is an attention-seeking kind of behavior. So when you realize that that is the thing, and the child is not at risk, ignore. They may be calling you, mommy, mommy, yeah. And the thing that they're engaging in is inappropriate. You want to ignore. As you continue to do that, that behavior will be expunged. And you find that you have so much peace as a result of simply ignoring that behavior that is not appropriate. Then, because children desire attention, and they may seek it by way of behaving inappropriately, you want to give them the attention that they desire. So you need to designate time which is just specific for the child. 15 minutes assigned for a child in the course of a week is good enough. If you can do more, the better. So you want to have like a play date for each and every child, not all of them at the same time, and then you assume that that is it. No. Each child their own time, so that you're able to interact with them one-on-one. They feel that they're being appreciated by the parent. They feel that they're being, recognized for their own unique selves, and even as an extended part of the family. So that is a very important thing for us to engage in. Then you want to take care of yourself, your own emotional needs. So you want to ensure that you're doing what we call personal self-care. Assign time for yourself. If you're feeling emotionally strung up, do the thing that helps you to de-escalate. If you're feeling overwhelmed, find someone to speak to. If the work is such that you can delegate it, find someone to delegate the work to. Yeah? If the child has done something and you are angry, do not address the child when you're angry. You can let them know, what you have done, I do not like. And I'd like us to speak about it, but right now I am feeling quite upset. So allow me time to calm down, and then we discuss this thing later. And you truly come back and discuss it. You also need to set very, very clear, boundaries and consequences. Discuss with the child up front. This is my expectation of you. Yeah. If they have anything to say about it, you talk about it, and this is how you show up. If you fail to show up in this way, this is the consequence. Are we agreed? Yes. When the time comes, when they do the right thing, affirm. When they fail to do the right thing, refer to the discussion. So we said that you can only use your phone from this time to this time. You have used it beyond the agreed time. And because you have gone beyond the agreed time, you are going to lose time the following day, as we had discussed, and ensure you're consistent with enforcing those rules that you have set up, because there's nothing as bad as failing to be consistent with the implementation of your discipline rules. So you want to, be as structured as possible. If you reflect on the things that I have said, they really speak to a form of structure. That is what children need to thrive. Yeah? They do not mind to be corrected. They may be a bit uncomfortable. That's understandable. But for as long as you are consistent, you are structured, you are not erratic, you'll find that the process of discipline is an easier process. The instances where you need to discipline are few and far apart, and you'll find yourself enjoying the parenting process more and more. Thank you.